a lot of headlines today are all about Wayne Rooney, and some pretty open and honest comments from Wayne working on the game yesterday for Sky Sports. You're hiding is a headline on the back of the Mail. Chris Wheeler writes this morning that Wayne Rooney has accused Manchester United players of hiding behind their injuries to avoid criticism and leaving Erik ten Hag to face the flak. He's alleged several United stars on the sidelines are staying out of the firing line. Rooney said yesterday some of those players can play 100% because they're getting a little bit of stick. It's easy for players to stay out and come back towards the FA Cup final and get themselves right for the European Championship. I've seen it for myself over the years. The players who have been injured are not filling themselves with any credit at the minute, and the manager is taking stick for it. What do you reckon, Ali? You've been in dressing rooms. Does that happen when things aren't going well? You're not playing well. The team's taking some stick. Is it normal at times for some players to with a knock not want to play?
When I say not want to play, they're certainly probably not as keen to play as they should. You could make an argument with maybe one or two of them that the FA Cup final is their last kind of throw of the dice, but I listen to his comments and I think he's absolutely spot on. There will be two or three players. I mean, you look at the two ex-United players on that panel there yesterday, Roy Keane and Wayne Rooney, and the one thing that both of them would do, I don't care what anybody says, they would play when not 100% fit. There's no doubt about that. We used to do it. If you had a niggle, you would just play. You'd get on with it. I don't think that's the case now with players. You can argue a lot of them will be advised by medical staff not to play, but there has to be a desire from within to play, even when you're not 100% fit. Wayne Rooney and Roy Keane would have had that in absolute buckets, right? But he's right to point out, I don't think there's enough of those people with that attitude in the Manchester United squad right now. So he's totally right.
I think it's clear as well, Sam, isn't it? Erik ten Hag on Friday at his press conference said he expected Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford to be fit for yesterday's game. They both trained on Friday and they both spent yesterday sitting in the stands. Now, I've got no idea what happened in training on Friday, but it does raise questions. And by the way, just while we're here, Billy has texted us, said, why do you never talk about United's injuries? It's a massive problem for any team. Look at Liverpool when they had their backline dismantled. They struggled until they were fit. OK, Billy, you asked the question. I'll tell you, for instance, Manchester United, they haven't had the most injuries this season, or the second most, or the third most. They have had the fourth most player days lost through injury. Chelsea have had more injuries this season. Yeah. Newcastle have had more injuries. Brentford have had more injuries. And Billy, you've had marginally more injuries than Liverpool, but Liverpool are 23 points ahead of you. So there you are, Billy. We've discussed United's injury problems. And where does this nonsense from Erik ten Hag come that he says that they're missing 7 starters? Who are those 7 starters, Eric? I'd love to know.
Yeah. But I listened to Roy and Wayne after the game. And you know what it's like, Jeff, Sam? 100. You've been in dressing rooms up and down the country where you get players, and you know if they wanted to push themselves with an injury, they could play. Because, listen, there are injuries that you can't play with. If you've got a calf injury, for example, no chance. Groin, things like that. But if you've got a kick and it's a little bit of a muscle strain, or it's a dead leg or whatever it may be, yes, you can definitely play through these sometimes. So there's no doubt about it, there'll be players probably not pushing themselves as hard as they should to get in that side, because the place is just bereft of confidence, and it's not a happy place to be, and it's not a good place to be.
And Jill's texted said, never mind the roof, and she's right. Dave Brailsford said the training ground's not up to standard. You know, and you wonder, and I don't know in what respect he thinks it's not up to standard, but you do wonder whether that has an impact as well. Jill says, I'm heartbroken to see my club like this.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned there the roof. I mean, it was a bad day on the pitch for United, also a pretty bad day off it, because some of the images have done the rounds on social media, and it's also across all of the papers today. In the verdict, that's the Daily Mail Sports pull out. The headline is pretty simple. Old Trafford is falling down. The state of Old Trafford was laid bare as Manchester Manchester United sprang a leak on and off the pitch yesterday. 1-0 defeat on the pitch. A fierce storm lashed the 114-year-old stadium. Water cascaded in one corner of the ground, while videos on social media showed a flood pouring under seats and even where the players' tunnel meets the dressing rooms. I know there's a lot of work to do, Jeff, on the pitch, but when you look to some of those videos, I mean, it's, you know, Man United, what's supposed to be the biggest club in the world, and that stadium is literally falling to pieces. It's quite incredible, isn't it, how the Glazers have allowed that stadium, I mean, to rot. I mean, the water we saw. I mean, look at that picture, Jeff, that I'm showing you there. That's a football club. That's the ground, one of the biggest football clubs in the world. It's extraordinary. Yeah,
you wonder whether the rebuild on the pitch or the rebuild off the pitch, you wonder which is going to take the longest, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, right now you're looking at United team, and never mind looking at United team, you look at Arsenal and City. Man United look, I don't know, you tell me, 4 or 5 years? It could be anything. It really could be anything, Jeff.
Just one more very quickly on the game yesterday. Tony Cascarino, he is in his column in the Times, he's focusing on Højlund. United need a forward. They can't rely on Højlund, he says in the Times. He's only 21, but from what I've seen, surely United can't rely on him to lead the line next season. There must be someone coming in to challenge him in the summer. I feel he needs a lot of work. Ali, should a striker be a priority for Manchester United in the summer?
Dear me. Where do you start? I mean, where do you start? I think you've got to start defensively and work from there. I mean, obviously, but how many times have we spoken about it, guys? You've got to get players out the door, excuse me, before you can get players in the door. And if they're sitting on lengthy contracts and tidy contracts and earning a few quid, it's going to be a lot easier to say, to think about getting them out the door and actually that happening, because they'll just sit and they won't move. But in answer to your question, I've got a degree of sympathy for Højlund because I think he is young, and I think there's a player in there. I don't think, I actually agree with Cass, I don't think at this moment in time he's the finished article for a Manchester United centre forward. But he's an improvement in what they've had. Dear me, you look at Martial and boys like that, he's definitely an improvement. But I don't know if you start in the forward position. I would start at the back and work my way out, to be honest.
There are so many issues. If you are looking for a forward, dare I mention Ivan Toney? I mean, I know, he's been linked with all sorts of places. By the way, I asked Erik ten Hag who the 7 starters that United are missing, and Agent 773 has just responded. 2 of the starters United are missing, Jeff. Garlic mushrooms on toast and prawn cocktail. Brilliant. Thanks, Sam.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.